Welcome back, guys. So what you're looking at is kind of the finished product of today's video. We ended up placing about 40 refineries, and we tried to convert 600 copper into 150 copper ingots. And it was actually working really, really good until we shut the power grid down. And my plan originally was to do the entire video and then film the intro with everything running and show you guys kind of what to look forward to in the video. But I destroyed the power grid. I shut down every factory that I have. I tried to put up fail safes and I still couldn't get it to work. So, bunch of cool stuff in this video, bunch of bad stuff in this video. Hope you guys enjoy. If you hit the like goal of 15 likes by Friday night, I will post a bonus video, probably of me trying to fix all of my power issues. All that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in a second. Hey guys, so yesterday I did a bunch of recording and I ended up getting about 15 minutes of footage, only to find out that I had updated my computer and my OBS settings went all back to default, so my mic was never turned on. So I have 15 minutes of me running around building this entire setup here, only to realize that I pretty much got no footage for it because I didn't have audio. So what we're going to do, instead of tearing all this down and trying to rebuild it right the second time, what we're going to do instead is we're going to copy this over here. So this is consuming about 300 copper ore, turning all of it into pure copper ink, which pretty much allows you to get more ingots out of it than you normally would if you were to run smelters, and all it really takes is water. So we have 20 of these right here, and we can build another 300 over here to get up to 600 copper, and all this together should make roughly about 1,500 copper in total, which is going to be really, really helpful when it comes to building our assemblers over there and mixing all that in with the aluminum ingots to make the alkali sheets that we're going to need. Everything else that we have left over will be used to make wire, cables, and stuff like that. We can mix that in with some of the other resources nearby and end up making some of the parts that we need to actually set up maybe some manufacturers over here and build some computers and stuff like that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build all these over here, and we're going to get started on it. I'll show you guys what we're doing. So something I did that's going to make this a lot easier is I actually turned this into a blueprint, and all it is just 3 of these right next to each other. I'm going to have to go get the resources for it, but this is going to allow me to just place these a lot easier than it would be to just kind of walk and do all of it all at once. So I'm going to go pick up all the resources I need, and then we're going to lay all these out. I'm probably going to cut out most of it just to kind of break up the monotony and we just place building after building and try to talk over it. So let me go grab all this stuff, get all this placed down, and we'll see what it looks like. So the only real thing that's important to me is I want to make sure this is the same over here. And the way I'm trying to measure that out is these floor holes, when placed correctly, are literally right up against this. So I go to my floor conveyor lift holes right here, put them right next to it, and that's exactly where I want it to be. That's how I'm using to line it up. Once I do the bag side, I'm going to try to use a little bit of a different kind of setup. This didn't get as close, so it's technically a little bit off. I could probably widen this out a little bit more, but I like the way that this worked out, so I'm going to try to get the same amount of distance in between them as I did over there. So we're going to keep placing these, and I'll show you the final product. Alright, so we have all 20 of our refineries placed down like this. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different than what we did on the other side is before I was putting these super close to the actual refineries. What I'm going to do over here is I'm going to back it up to actually line up with this, just so I could do a little catwalk design. I probably should have did that over there, but I didn't, and I'm not really going to redo all the piping just to fix this one little thing. So in the future, we're going to try to do this and make it the same the whole way down, but there's nothing I can really do about that without doing a ton of work, so we're just going to ignore it. I'm going to place all these holes down to get everything set up, and I'll do the conveyors. I'll show you what that'll look like here in a second. And this is wrong. So I'm looking at this, and these are like just a little nudge over than where they're supposed to be, because over there they're completely symmetrical. That means that all these are wrong, and I have to replace this line and move this over like half a nudge. So I'm going to tear all this out and start over again and redo this for like the 10th time. So try to get it lined up here. I came like all the way to the edge last time we do this. Make sure that's like centered up. So this looks a lot better. So now I have to take out all these and then replace the blueprint 3 times to try to make sure that I get it right this time. All right, I'll be right back. I really wish that there was a way to actually put these floor conveyor lift things in the actual blueprint, because that would have made this like 20 times easier. But I think you might be able to do it if you put a foundation down and then put it on top of that. I haven't tried that, but that still makes it kind of difficult to use because then you have to have the right type of foundation set up, and it all becomes really, really kind of niche. So, um, yeah, I don't really know about that. I just wish that I could do this without having to manually put down 40 of these holes and then have to do another 20 on each of these ends. So it's just a lot, but it'll be okay. We're gonna keep moving forward. I need to set up all the conveyor lifts now, set up the pipelines up top, and then I can finally move underneath and start doing all the sorter and everything down there. All right, so we have all of the pipelines and conveyor lifts placed on the inside of this. If you're trying to build this catwalk, it doesn't really line up perfectly center right here. So what we did to kind of offset that is if we take a road barrier right here, we place it kind of just inside of this on the edge of where you want it to be. You can take this catwalk straight, place it here, and then this will allow you to zoom it all the way down. And then all you have to do is take out these two, and then you'll have this centered. So this kind of does look a little bit strange to some people, with these conveyor lifts kind of sitting through here, but I kind of like the way it looks, so we're gonna leave it like this. If you don't want that, obviously you just need to separate them a little bit further, which I probably could have done. I could have moved this way just a little bit, and that would have got everything out of the way. But I did that over on that side, and I kind of like the way it turned out, so we're gonna keep it. Also, I'm not really trying to redo all the work that I've already done, because that would be a ton to do. So I don't really want to have to deal with that. We're gonna leave it like this because I think this is okay. We're going to keep moving forward. I'm not going to show you setting up the return lines right here because it's really just placing conveyor lifts, which I already just did. So what we're going to move on to right now is going underneath and setting all that up down there and kind of showing you how we're going to go about doing that. So let's keep going. So now that we're down to here, we're going to start off by placing the pipe because that's going to be the most important part. We're going to take this foundation 4 right here and end up zooming this all the way down so we got a little bit of space to work with. This is going to wind up getting taken out eventually to kind of build all the stuff underneath like this, but we just needed the space up here to kind of actually start to work. So all we're going to do is we're going to take, we'll start down here at the very end because the water's going from the other side. We're going to take these Mark II lines just so we know that we have enough water, and this will allow us to kind of run all this together. I think it only requires 200, so we could probably get away with using Mark I lines just for the sake of it, and kind of dealing with all the liquid stuff that is over there. I don't really want to have to worry about it too much anymore. I just want to build the Mark II line and we'll call it good. We're going to go all the way to the end here, which would be this one right here. How to do this? It's the inside. So we're going to do this one, furthest one away. So get a nice right angle there, and then we're going to run this pipe all the way down. And we're going to try to make sure that we get the support. We'll go as far as we can. We don't want to put it too close to anything. We want it in between two of these so we get a junction in here. Double check that it's straight. That's good. And then we're going to go all the way down to the end over here. And then it's pretty simple. All we're going to do is kind of eyeball the junctions. So like right here, there's this one, which is, it works out because these are all symmetrical up here. So all you really need to look for is this conveyor lift over here. Instead of trying to tilt your head and look up, you can just look right here. We know that it's got to face towards me. Put that there, we should be able to run a Mark II line there. Just like that. And you get a nice little elbow with it. So that's all you have to do. And we just need to build all the junctions all the way down. And then once we're done, we're going to take out the foundations here, and we'll take out the supports. Look like the pipe is kind of connected to the ceiling, and that's all we really need to do. So we're gonna go through and do all that, and then we're gonna see what we need to do about the mergers for the actual copper ore that's gonna be coming into the system. Okay, so I had that set up a little bit off. If you have it set up correctly, the pipeline should look like this, which that's not very good. So if you hit R, you can change it to noodle, and that will make it look a lot more right. If you want to try to do it with a perfectly right angle, which I think this is fine, you'll have to actually place a support beam down, which can get really, really tricky when you have a pipeline right here that's already had a junction to it. So it just depends on how much work you're trying to put in. I think the noodle looks just fine, and I'm probably going to keep it like that. So we're going to go through and set up all of these with our little noodle, and yeah, we're getting some good progress on this. So for our conveyor lifts, what we're going to do is we're going to add our splitters all the way down. We're going to manifold this. I believe it should be able to keep up with the system. It should be 600. It should be an exact number, and it should be okay. Especially with this being already backed up, it should all work out correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much take this splitter line all the way down. And then once we have to add to these, it's going to get a little trickier. Pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to run a conveyor lift right here with a right angle, like this. And then this will run this way. Should fit like right about here. And I'll have this conveyor lift right here coming down. just like this, and then we'll kind of connect right across. So we're going to pretty much repeat this junction all the way down. We're going to run a Mark IV line down the main line, just to make sure that we have enough belt power to kind of pull all the copper all the way to the end of it. And then we're going to make all of this red, and then we need to set up our actual return lines so everything's going to be coming out of it, pipe that off into a resource sink. So there's still a lot more to do, but we're getting a lot closer. So we're going to set up all these junctions, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. Alrighty, so this is what everything looks like set up. We've connected all of our belts and everything. We obviously need to switch this to red, but for the most part, this is pretty much done. It's just a matter of building these two lines. I have to do one over here for this set of refineries, and then one on the other side for the other, and then connect that down. And once we have all that set up, we can finally put this little split on this. We'll probably build a second water line just to make sure that we have enough. We need to up the water production over there, and then we need to make a splitter for this little copper line right here. We can split off from this to supply this. So we're getting really close now. This will probably take me another like 5 minutes to do, and then we'll see where we're at. So we're going to set these up super similar to how we actually did this water line here. We're just going to take it Mark V to make sure we have plenty of kind of leeway, and we're going to look at a nice right angle like this, and we're going to go as far as we can. And as soon as we get to the end of here, like, we don't want to stop right here because we have to fit the merger, so we're going to back it up a little bit towards just perfectly in between these two. And not perfectly, but close enough. And that should allow enough space to actually place a merger here and there. And then we just need to run this all the way down to the end. Make sure it's all straight so we don't have any issues. And there you go, that looks good. So just set up like this, and then we just need to place mergers kind of staring up at it. Same thing we did with the junctions, just trying to make sure it's lined up. And then once we have this all good, we'll do the same thing on the other side, connect it, and then run it off to a resource sink. And this project should be ready to come to a close. Alright, so we just got our water station kicked on over here. We got 6 pumps now, that way I wouldn't have to overclock anything. It's just kind of stuck over here. So this should all be good. Now it's a matter of tracking the pipeline all the way back to make sure that the pumps can actually get the water up to the next level. As long as that's okay, this full system over here should be kicking on all by itself. So we're going to track the water, make sure everything's good, and I'll get back to you in a second when I find out what's going on exactly. So it looks like water is getting up to both of them over here and here. Now it's just a matter of going up there to check to make sure everything is turning on. So it is like one water line, so it should actually kind of take it a second for all of it to get caught up. But this, in theory, with all this over here and all this over here, should be working properly. I just need to go make sure that everything's okay. Let me head up there real fast. And there you go. We have green lights everywhere. It doesn't look like there's any starting at all. It's just a constant flow. So this is turning 600 copper into 500 copper ingots, which is just a really abysmal number that I never thought possible. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to play a little bit of a clip. I want to see how long it'll take for this to actually fill up a storage chest, and I'll speed it up because I'm just curious, because this is a lot and I just want to kind of see it run. So we're going to set up a little industrial storage thing down there, and then the last kind of half of this episode is just going to be us filling in the walls and kind of the structure of this stuff over here to kind of make this look pretty. The biggest concern I'm probably going to have is the lighting, because this is going to be very difficult to keep all this lit with how compact it is. But we're going to do our best. I got a couple ideas, and we're going to see what we can do. So all that being said, let's play the clip, and we'll get into it. No. No. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, so this is really bad, because I am so far from any of my power stations. Like, I have the line that connects to this, but this is all the way over here. Like, I need to be able to get to this to fix this problem. So, I got a couple ideas on what I'm going to do. I'm going to disconnect this whole system first and try to boot it off this fuse right here, because this should be what's connected everything to this side over here. So I'm hoping that if I can disconnect this line right here, I can pop the fuse off of this one. But this is really, really not good because I can't even hypertube back. If I can't get this fixed from this side, I'm going to have to walk all the way over there. So let me see if I can make this work. Hold on. Alrighty, so yeah, that'll definitely do it. Our mass consumption is so high. All right, okay, let's get rid of this real quick and see what this brings us down to. It didn't really drop. I really hope I didn't loop this system. Come on. Okay. So yeah, that dropped our consumption down just enough to get this activated. So now we need to pretty much disconnect all of this and only get our hypertube set up, because this is going to cause a ton of problems. I don't even have the electrical system set up for this yet. I just have a mess of wires, and I got to disconnect this whole factory so I can fix this because I need more power. All right, let me think about this and I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so now that I've kind of let the novelty and the shock factor wear off, I kind of thought about it a little bit. And we're going to rework the electrical system over here instead of doing all the other stuff, because I have to get this factory up and running. And the cosmetic stuff is important, but we'll have to get to that later. So what we're going to do is we're going to isolate these systems. So we'll get these refineries down to one system. We'll probably put the foundries on their own relay. And then we'll put this whole copper system on its own little node over here as well. So that way we can kind of isolate that stuff. And then we'll shut all this down. And we'll leave our aluminum factory down for now. And then we will be able to kind of lead this power line stuff over to our hypertube, and our train stations, get all that running as well, so that system can actually operate. The silica really shouldn't be all that much. It is quite a bit of assemblers, but it's really not a ton. The main reason why we have so much problems is because we added 40 of these refineries over here, and I think the power outage is 30. So there's like 1,200 power just being sucked off of just this one system, and I don't really have that much as it is right now. So even if we just isolate this, it should fix it. But if I'm doing this, I might as well do everything else. So what we did already was to get this on one line. I'm pretty much moving this Mark 1 pole just down into here. And then instead of running the wire across from here to here and having it kind of in the way, I'm putting it down into this Mark 1 line. And then if I just run it right through the floor, the wire doesn't matter if it fades through it, you still get the connection. So it's almost like kind of a power passageway as opposed to it kind of being up here. So that's just a little idea if you guys end up doing anything like this in the future. But we're going to isolate all these systems, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, and we'll get back to the video. So I've already kind of made a whole video on how to do this, and I'll kind of put that in the top right corner if you guys want to check it out. But pretty much all I'm doing is you need to figure out exactly where power is coming from. So I went through all these lines, and the only real place for this to get power is right here. So if I pretty much take this line and I put the power switch right here, and I get rid of this and I run this through here, now it creates a shutoff. So as long as there's not like a circle, like a loop somewhere else, this should power all this down. So, oh, I don't want an operational, I want it down. But this is pretty much how I'm going to go about isolating it. The only problem you can really have when you do this is if you have the loop. So if, say, this was connected into like this line all the way over here for some random reason, like we just grabbed one because we were rushing, and we set up a loop, now this power cutoff won't work. You need to have just one individual line coming into this entire section. So that means everything pretty much this way, so that miner, the water system, all that stuff out there needs to be lined up at least through here. Because if it connects to each other at any point, it's not going to work, and then it's going to kill the power again. And I'm going to have another problem. So this should be pretty well isolated, especially with this turned off now. So we're going to actually try to connect the line again and see if it shuts everything down, and we're just going to hope that doesn't. So let's see if I was right. Aww. Oh, man. All right. Well, keep looking. Alright, so we went a little further down. We isolated this pump, and then the pumps over here were looped off of this train station as well. So I went ahead and just disconnected the train station. which kind of sucks because that means that killed the power over there, and kind of all this stuff over here is down. But really, my objective at this point is just kind of survival. So I want to get emergency power line to where I can run all this stuff over here just to get the hypertube active, because my main focus needs to be getting back there. If I can get back there, I can fix all this, but I really don't want to have to walk. And I have a car. I can take the car back there, but even then, it's like a 20-minute drive, and I got to go through a lot of stuff, and I'm really trying not to do that. So we're going to put the line back again, and hopefully it'll be just enough emergency power to kind of get this hypertube running, and then we'll go from there. So here we go. All right, that's a great sign. That's a phenomenal sign. The power grid didn't shut off. And it did raise a little bit. Okay. All right, we're going to take the hypertube while it's still running, because this is getting really tight. And if, well, I guess my consumption isn't that high, but that is still kind of teeter-tottering on pretty much the max consumption to what I can actually run. So we're good. I'm going to take this back there, and then I'm going to see what I can do to get some more power running. So I never really talked about what I had going on over here, but I did make a ton of turbo fuel using that compacted coal that we ran through all this stuff. That was like 10 episodes ago now, but I made all of this, and I do have 16 of these on standby, which should take us up another 2,400 power, which is good. It's good that we have this system set up already, but it's really not going to raise us too much past where we actually need to be, because even in 8,000 production, we were still able to kill the system. This will get us just over 10,000, and with the whole system running everything over there, this gained over 3,000 megawatts, which is just a lot. So I think even if I turn this system on, which I'm going to do right now, I think that it's still going to kill the fuse. So we officially have a power problem, which is not a good thing. So I'm gonna hook all this stuff up and see if by a miracle that we can actually make this factory run over there. We're still gonna keep the aluminum production down for now, and just run the copper production just to see if we can get enough footage to kind of finish this video on the project that we were trying to do, and hopefully we can finish out the video without having any more disaster events like this. And our next video can be about fixing our power grid, because apparently it's in shambles. So let's hook all this up, and then we'll see where we're at. All right, so we're back over here. After we kicked on all of that, we got almost up to 11,000, which should hopefully be enough. I really hope it's going to work out. I think as long as I don't have the train station and everything hooked up, that I can actually run this and kind of finish the video. So let's go over to this switch here. We're going to flip it, and hopefully everything doesn't just destroy itself. Come on. All right, well, this is probably going to be the end of the video, because I got a lot bigger problems on my hands now, and it's definitely not something I can solve just by flipping a switch, clearly, because that just made it way worse. And shut the grid down. Again, it took the consumption all the way up there enough to kick it off, which is really a big deal. So, we're going to end the video here, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to stay tuned and see how I managed to fix this in our next video, just go ahead and subscribe down below and kind of follow the series. If we do hit our like goal of 15, I will be posting a bonus video on Saturday. So all that being said, thank you guys for tuning in again, and I hope you guys have a good week.